Roy Sullivan was a forest ranger who lived in the US state of Virginia from 1912 to 1983. Sullivan, who worked in Shenandoah National Park, was known as Lightning's favorite son throughout his life. So, how did Roy manage to make it into the Guinness Book of World Records? It all began in a wheat field. Little Roy was swinging a scythe with his father in the field. The sky was clear and the weather was beautiful. Then, suddenly, something happened to shatter that tranquility. A thunderbolt crashed down from the sky, striking the scythe in Roy's hand with such force that the metal tool practically flew out of his grasp. Yet, the boy wasn't even scratched. Everyone called him a lucky boy, and that was the end of it. Little did they know that on that day, the sky had merely set its sights on a target. Years later, Roy grew up and became a forest ranger. He was stationed at a fire lookout tower. A storm broke out outside, and the tower became a veritable lightning rod. Lightning struck the tower several times. Thinking, "I'm definitely going to die here," Roy threw himself outside, but lightning struck him just a few meters away from the tower. After the strike, he suffered a deep burn on his right leg. His toenail was destroyed and he had to buy a new pair of boots. This incident was officially the first welcome gift from the lightning. One day, Roy was driving along a mountain road, completely unaware of what was coming. Faraday cages, metal bodies. Lightning doesn't play by any such rules when it comes to Roy. A bolt of lightning struck a tree, bounced off, flew through the open window, and struck Roy again. As a result of the strike, Roy lost consciousness. His eyebrows and eyelashes were singed. On top of that, his wristwatch was rendered unusable. One weekend, Roy went outside to spend some peaceful time in his backyard. But the sky had no need for such peace. Once again, those sneaky clouds were up to their old tricks. Lightning struck a nearby power pole first, then bounced off it and hit Roy on the shoulder. For Roy, this was no longer funny. His left shoulder was severely burned. Deep burn scars remained on his shoulder. Roy wasn't safe anymore, even when he was at the station. It wasn't clear whether the lightning struck the roof or bounced off the wall. It zipped around and found Roy again. His hair caught fire once more. Roy could barely put out the flames on his head with a wet towel. After that strike, Roy lost his hair once again and started carrying a water bottle. It was just another day at work for Roy. He was on patrol in the park. He spotted a small cloud in the sky, thought he was being followed, and started to run. When the cloud didn't stop following him, Roy got out of the car and tried to run away, but to no avail. Lightning struck Roy once again. His hat flew off, and his hair was ablaze once more. He'd really had enough of this now. As a result of this strike, Roy's hair caught fire again. The lightning entered his left arm and exited through his left leg, causing severe damage. On a quiet day, as Roy was walking in the park, there it was again, that cloud, that feeling of being followed. Roy ran, but it was no use. The lightning struck him once more. Roy had begun to see this not so much as fate, but as the lightning's obsession with him. Roy was injured in the ankle again, his hair was singed, and he began the healing process all over again. Roy was fishing on the lake one beautiful weekend, daydreaming about retirement. But that sneaky cloud seemed a bit offended at not being invited. It sent its lightning bolts again. This time, Roy didn't resist. He just stood there, and the lightning struck him once more. Before Roy had fully regained his composure, he spotted a bear creeping up on him. The bear had set its sights on the fish in the bucket. So what did Roy do? He grabbed a branch he saw lying around and started chasing the bear. Neither lightning nor bears could stop him. Roy brushed them both aside with the back of his hand. This time, Roy was badly injured. He suffered burns on his hair, the top of his head, his chest, and his abdomen. As an added bonus, he also lost hearing in one ear. Roy Sullivan was a man who managed to survive being struck by lightning 7 times. A man who lived through what was deemed impossible. However, this extraordinary series of events turned into a heavy burden he carried for the rest of his life. In 1983, at the age of 71, weary of being known as the Lightning's target, he chose to retreat into silence. Though Roy had triumphed over nature's most savage force time and again, he ultimately brought an end to the strange fate life had dealt him.